Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It is Reap the Harvest live. Today, we're going to be talking about building a circle of influence that can help you level up in life. We're bringing back the intro, and we're going to dive right in. So fresh and so clean.
You got
Reap the Harvest show.
The last picture with my baby.
Oh man, she's gotten a lot bigger, hasn't she?
That's right. I had her on a reel today. I have to take her running in the morning now, man. That kid wakes up with me at like 4:45, 5 o'clock. And I gotta take her out of the house. So
yeah, I've been strapping little Annabelle up. She's 11 months now, and I strap her onto the thing, and she faces out. So I do a little workout in the garage, and then I take her on a little walk.
Yeah,
and, she loves it. She just loves
it. Yeah, she wasn't digging it this morning. She was crying. We got that big double stroller, and I'm pushing her along. I got that runner.
Oh, dude, the double stroller. Ours, at least, it only goes to like a certain speed, so you can't really go that fast with it.
Oh, ours.
I don't know how yours is built.
The big, robust tires, and the problem with it though is, so this weekend actually, I'm like, screw it, I'm just gonna go down to. I was looking at these new Tahoes, and because we're running out of space in our SUV, and we got a decent size SUV. It's a Traverse LTZ, so it's like, but I don't know, it's just not like big enough. And so I went down there and was checking it out. But they actually, some of the bigger SUVs, they have a little bit more overhead space, but width is an issue. When you get the Bob stroller, it's the width. It's ridiculous. So
even if they fold up, trying to get it in the back of
you got to maneuver around. You got to pop the wheels off. It's weird. So anyways, we were just looking. I'm looking at the Infiniti QX80s, and then I'm looking at an Escalade too. So it's just that like no car, I guess, fits the big oversized stroller MO. But
dad life, folks. Dad life.
That do layer up. I don't know. Maybe we do a show on that recommendation.
Well, and it goes right into what we were talking about anyway. Circle of influence. You know, you got to get good people around you so that you can have a positive influence on your family, so that you can be a provider for your family. You know, in all areas. It's not just about money. You know, we bang on a lot of different stuff with real estate deals and all this, but when I was just looking through my Facebook memories, because as most people know, I post everything on Facebook, mainly because I want to document stuff. And 2 years ago, we were laughing about this before the show. 2 years ago, I played my last acoustic happy hour gig. So if you followed me in the past, every night of the week, I'd be at some other bar since I was like 20 years old. So we'll call it 15 years. Every night of the week, it'd be Tuesday night, and I'd be playing acoustic at some place. Wednesday night, Thursday Thunder, Freaky Friday. I ended up coming up with names. Social Saturday. Years and years and years and years and years and years and years of this. And once I started targeting business conferences and business events and business people that knew more about taking skill sets and monetizing them and turning them into a business model, it completely changed the trajectory of where I was going with my skills. Now, I never would have made it without those gigs. God bless those people that hired me, because I was a total a joker card, But dude, I mean, you got to get around the right people. Once I started getting around the Grant Cardones and the Russell Brunsons and the Tim Brotzes, I met people like you that are better at certain things than I am. And that's fine. Systems and scaling. And you always talk about verticals. We were talking about verticals in the hallway. And it's just like, you start to learn other people's way of looking at doing business and other people's way and language of communication, because you're upgrading certain areas of your life as far as influence. And Mark Evans calls it thought auditing. Remember when he'd said that? And I was like blown away by that. Like, how are you auditing what's going through your mind when you're constantly around people that are holding themselves accountable in a high level way? You start to automatically do it.
Yeah. Yeah. Thought auditing, being a thought leader. If you're going to be an entrepreneur, you got to be a leader. You gotta kind of run your ship, create that vision, being a thought leader, and then audit your thoughts is so imperative, because even as a leader, you get strayed by certain things, right? Some things kind of bringing back in an old show, but the comparison is the thief of joy. I was even explaining this cool idea on words. I don't know if I brought this up on a prior podcast, but David Nurse, he's a human optimization coach, real cool guy. I think he was on a podcast I was listening to. But he had very cool things on playing with words. And so just to kind of give a real quick example, he would bring guys in. He played in the NBA for a number of years. I think he played with the San Antonio Spurs, but he played in Europe. And then he was brought over to actually work with the Sixers. And he works with guys that essentially are in slumps or going through some maybe hard times. And he'll sit down with the guy and they'll work through some things. But one of the first questions I'll ask him, he's like, where are you at? Where are you at in life? Where are you at in your game? How's your game going? What do you think you're in? Knowing full well this guy's in what they call a slump, right? And so the guy's 90% of the time, 95% of the time, maybe even 100%, I don't know. He's like, they're going to say the word slump. Oh, man, I'm in a shooting slump. He's like, oh, really? Tell me more. What does that word mean to you? And so then he's like, hey, so they dive into it. And he has all this negative feedback going on in your head, right? And when you compound negative thoughts, and you don't audit those thoughts, right? Those compound and dig a deeper hole. And that's what a lot of people are doing during COVID right now. They're just digging a deeper hole. 2020 sucks, digging a deeper hole, until they dig their own grave. But he puts a toy on words. Oh, yeah. You got a slump? Well, tell me about your shooting hippopotamus. Tell me about that. The guy will be like, what? Shooting hippopotamus? What are you talking about, man? Yeah. Tell me about your shooting hippopotamus. And when you say the word hippopotamus, you're like, what? Like, what is this guy talking about? He's crazy. But you're toying with words, right? You're taking different angles. You're like, oh, wait a minute. When I say slump, is that equal to hippopotamus? What does that mean? And what's it? They call it the 1% pivot, right? I'm going to pivot my mind on things. Oh, I'm not in a slump. Wait a minute. I'm just one step away from hitting my next shot. I'm just one step away from making my next big deal. I'm just one step away from empowering another individual, from an act of encouragement that's going to empower them, that's then going to feed into me. Like all these things, I'm one decision away from compounding another good decision that's ultimately going to compound 12 others that are going to be awesome, right? So it's like, we're going to go through life and are we going to dig, are we going to keep digging and say we're in this slump, like 2020 sucks, oh my gosh, or are we going to say, hey, what's the 1% pivot? 2020 actually, maybe it's been a fried egg, but again, playing a toy on word, I'm not going to say suck, right? It's been a fried egg, but hey, man, I got the future to look to. You know what I mean? I like playing, just pivoting with creative words that are going to be, as dumb as that may sound, it's that simple. Like that's what this David Nurse was guy talking about, human optimization coach. How do I optimize my mind? How do I audit my thoughts to get back to, hey, I need to keep moving forward, right? Do I need to reflect sometimes? Yeah, sometimes they're going to suck, they are going to, but it's just going to be a fried egg, it's just a fried egg. Whatever.
And this is almost like it's so funny because sometimes this is just stuff that we used to talk about this in like soccer camp when we were kids. But as we get older, we veer away from those like old school basic foundational coaching principles of push through it, keep going, because you don't have somebody yelling at you from the sidelines anymore.
Yeah.
When you're tired and your dog tired and there's like 7 minutes left, maybe you guys are up by a point or you're down, and there's a coach yelling at you from the sideline, come on, pick it up, let's go. I mean, it's like, oh man, I better run faster. You got to do that for yourself. So what kind of people are coming across your feed online, or what kind of people are you following on Instagram or any of these platforms? I weaponize my social media so that when I get up and I look at my social media, it's like people telling me to get moving. That's what's predominantly on my pages. I probably post the goofiest stuff out of anybody I know, which is great because people are like, oh man, you're so creative all the time. And it's like, well, yeah, because I follow you telling me to chase my dream. So there's a corresponding action there. For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. All this stuff is basic stuff, but it is 100% solid. And so who is in your circle? Who are you following? You have the power to control what you look at. You get what you focus on. There's another one. You totally get what you focus on. If you're focused on, I'm going to write down my goals every morning. I have a little app. I write down my goals every morning. What's my 5 most important things that I need to do today? 3 of them are usually like client related because that is directly what's my output look like. But 2, 3 of them usually are me. What do I need to work on so that my output is at an optimal level today?
Huge time blocking. I block every morning, but dude, I heard a quote by John Maxwell this morning. So I was going through a John Maxwell podcast, and I got 2 things kind of what I'm compounding on what you're saying, just to piggyback on that. But he had one, and I'm like, dude, I got to make note of that. Right. So I picked up my phone when I'm running real quick. Habit stacking is key, but too, when you're doing something, try to get in the podcast new. I always take a look at my screen time and what I'm using and how I'm resourceful with my time. But he said, those closest to you determine your level of success, right? So circle of influence is imperative to me. There's a lot of people that I genuinely love because I'm a lover of people, but I don't necessarily bring into my life all that much anymore because are they creating me? Are they pushing me to level up? Are they holding me back just a little bit? You know what I mean? And you kind of create a bubble for yourself. And I'm not saying create the bubble in the sense that you're not willing to get outside perspective, because that's also good because you want to get kind of both sides of the perspective to create your own decision. But creating that influence, that bubble. And what Pat was saying, what I've got into is masterminds, right? There's definitely been masterminds where I'm in with people and I'm like, dude, like I'm nothing like you. Like we're complete opposites, but they're needling. They're just pushing the needle forward, right? They're in there for a purpose. And when you can get collective minds together, I'm always seeking people out that are just a little bit ahead of me, or that honestly might not even be a little bit ahead of me, but that are on kind of my same wavelength to like, all right, let's empower each other to level us up. And I was even the other day, I was sitting down with a young gentleman. I said this on a podcast. I was like, dude, like he's thinking at 21 the way I was at 31. And I'm like, that is awesome. That is super awesome. Right. And Pat and I were talking about this before the show, like it's awesome. We're at a new stage of life. This kid's 21. I wouldn't take back my 31 years for anything. Well, the obstacles that I went through, the growth patterns that I went through at 31, no regrets. You know what I mean? That's when I felt like I started making compounding decisions really to accelerate growth. But this kid's at 21. Cool. But I'm not going to play that comparison game. Like, oh man, I wish I made that decision at 21. Dude, I'm going to lock into that kid and I'm going to empower him. And so I want to go back to this choice of words, right? This choice of words and circle of influence. This young kid, honestly, I'm still thinking about it. I'm going to reach probably back out to him. I told him to reach out to me. We're going to get another lunch together. But I came up with this concept of the word blessed, right? The word blessed always came into my mind, and I put a negative connotation with the word blessed. The reason why I say that is because I always thought when I said, man, dude, I am so blessed, or when somebody said that or articulated it that way, they're playing it with a comparison to something, right? I'm blessed because this person isn't as blessed, right? Your mind tends to shift that way. You think of the orphans in Africa, you think of all these things. But when you can put the blinders on, right? When you can just put the absolute blinders on and say, look around your circle of influence and just say, man, there's so many people breathing life into me and I'm able to give that back. I am blessed
Totally.
beyond. And it's not a game. It's not a game at all of a comparison either before you or kind of like lower than you, like a standard of success. It's being completely and utterly present and saying, dude, I am blessed no matter where I'm at. I think of this song, Amazing Grace. This guy, if you read about kind of how this guy wrote this song, he was essentially saying he was blessed beyond measure. He was like full of amazing grace. And he had, I mean, unbelievable obstacles to get to that point, yet he's able to write this song out. It's the same thing of like when you create that bubble and that circle of influence, you can see things through these, like it's almost like rose-colored glasses, right? And yet people might dog on the rose-colored glasses. Dude, I love seeing life through rose-colored glasses. Like I love it.
It's like
Because
Wonka vision.
Wonka vision. It gives me this like element of that I'm able to say, dude, I am so unbelievably blessed by the people around me, my circle of influence that are breathing life into me. And that then I want to breathe life into other people. I want to look for other people that I can identify with that are seeking similar things, that said, hey man, this is kind of where I'm at. Do you want to join to get on this ride with me, right? And let's smile about it. And there's going to be obstacles. I'm not going to set the big thing that we learned about last podcast with the Vincent brothers, right? Setting expectations. Shit's going to get hard. There's going to things that hit the fan. Like it's going to suck. It's going to be a fried egg sometimes. You know what I mean?
It's true. And I was actually looking at this. Dave Miner shared this article from the Wall Street Journal, which there's very many sources out there. And anybody who follows news stuff knows, I mean, the Wall Street Journal is legit. The coronavirus pandemic has thrown between 88 million and 114 million people into extreme poverty. The World Bank defines impoverished as less than $1.90 per day or $700 per year. The World Bank estimates between 703 million and 729 million people are in extreme poverty, and that could rise in 2021. So I encourage people out there to think about, we all have issues. We all have things that we need to work on, but this concept that Matt's bringing up here of looking at things through rose-colored glasses. I mean, we here in this country generally have it better than almost anywhere in the world. People flock to this country for opportunity because there is a second chance for many people to achieve the dream of the white picket fence American dream. And so that statistic hit me hard because it's such a legit source. And the article was like so broken down, like number wise. And I was like, whoa, could anyone even watching this imagine living on $700 a year?
It's crazy, man. It's crazy. But I also want to bring up the point. Like the point is the point of the circle of influence, kind of going back to with the circle of influence, like that there's going to be articles exposed like that. And unfortunately, it's the depravity of the situation we live in, right? The world we live in. But like being completely present with it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're in, an area like a remote area of Africa, in like wherever. I'm terrible at geography, but I I would say like wherever you are, right? And or you live in the prosperity of America, wherever things are, right? Is identifying and just being completely present. Like presence is really presence with the ability to love. I think of it in terms of this. If you absolutely consider yourself blessed without the standard of comparison compared to something, then you then have the ability to see things in a new lens and be extremely empathetic.
Mm.
And I think that's where a lot of times we miss out on right now. And that's where the transition, this mass transition of wealth that's going on right now. Because that's exactly money's not going anywhere. I don't know if people realize this, but money is in the system. It's just going from one hand to another.
There's more money right now available than there's ever been.
Right? It's just a transition of wealth right now. This is probably the biggest transition of wealth we've ever seen in human history. It's 100% the largest transition of wealth in human history. I think Jeff Bezos during this time has made close to 180 billion.
Unbelievable.
$180 billion. So there's a large transition of wealth, right? And that's just one man. 180
I
billion.
remember when you could only order CDs and books off Amazon. They didn't even have anything else. Remember specifically, I used to order CDs because then I didn't have to walk all the way to Vintage Vinyl to buy the new just punk rock album or Head PE or whatever it was. It was like revolutionary.
It's insane. And I'm friends with a guy that he just acquires businesses, and I reached out to him yesterday actually because for over the past couple of months, my partner, he's like, we want to get in e-commerce. So anyways, we're going to start up a few stores. He told me they acquired the company in May and they have a 60 person waiting list and they can't get me in the queue until Q1 of next year. So that's to start up like even a few Amazon stores. I can't even get in that queue. It's insane how they've blown up. But I mean, not to lose track, right?
That goes right into building your influence. You don't get around people like that by not working to get around people like that.
But I mean, the perspective here of it all,
right?
Is, we always think of, you determine your own level of success. We always think of like monetizing, right? To create your own. And we talk about that Financial Friday. There's new innovative ways to make money. There's a number of different things you can do, right? But mindset is always the most important to me. Mindset, health, and finances. Get those three things in order, and that's imperative. But circle of influence is so key in doing that because you're establishing your foundation. Everything comes from a foundation, right? And you need to do that, like the thought audit, right? The thought audit of who's in your influence, right? Are they bringing you down? Are they pulling you up? Like I like vision up, vision up, then vision out. That was something in church yesterday I liked. But for me, very spiritual man, as God, like I need to go deeper, and God will take me wider, right? And he'll create a sphere of influence that as long as I go deep, then I can go wide. But you need to build that foundation deep in order to go wide. And, I came through a series of podcasts and I'm like kind of bringing all these things all together that in my mindset, it's being a thought leader, doing thought audits. I love what Pat added there. And then determining your level of influence around you. And it's so true. The 5 people you surround yourself with is basically an average of who you are. And if those people are going to be perpetually negative and get dog on you, this, that, and the other, you know what? You're probably going to be a negative person. But if your circle of influence is like, dude, let's level up, let's keep going, let's drive each other, then your circle of influence is you're going to then be able to rise up more people with you, and rising tides lifts all boats.
I'm gonna tell you something. I have never met, and I've played conferences with some of the biggest CEOs in the business world. I've never met one millionaire or billionaire that told me that my song ideas or my skit ideas or my creative ways or skills were stupid. Not one.
Not one.
None of them. I've never heard one person that was highly successful tell me that being funny or writing silly tunes or any of that was dumb. Every single one of them was like, oh yeah, that's brilliant. Use it to bring some value. You get yourself some gigs, put some money in your pocket. I think it's brilliant. Every single time. I've never, ever, ever had a high level thinker tell me that it was dumb. Just something to think about. That's part of the reason why I have zero care when I make funny stuff like that, because I'm just being funny. They're like, dude, people get offended at me. Grant Cardone told me people get offended at me when I post videos walking out of my plane. Like, what? You can't win everybody over, dude.
No way. You're not gonna win.
So I mean, it's just, you might as well do you, bro. Might as well do you, because you're gonna get criticized anyway.
That's right, man.
So it's just something to think about. Highly successful people aren't dogging on people going out and putting in work to achieve something. Mm-hmm. Even if it's comedy skits or funny songs. It's like, dude, you're doing something. At least you're doing something. So, you know, the loudest boos come from the cheapest seats, folks. So those people don't need to be in your circle of influence.
I love that, dude. But cool, man. Yeah,
good time.
Anyways, I got to get back to work. We have
also make sure you follow, if you guys don't follow Matt on Instagram. I'm going to be chopping up a lot of this stuff and posting it there. Also the full episodes, but throughout the week, like I said, I'm going to start banging little notes into the notepad. I got a bunch of clips I'm going to bang out. So at official Matt Tack, follow us over there. There'll be a bunch of clips. Send us a message, get in touch, and we'll see y'all soon.
Thanks, Matt. Subscribe. Thank you.